What's going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today we're going to talk to you about Fisker. Some people have been asking for me to cover this. I'm going to give this a shot. So ticker is FSR. I'm sure a lot of you have heard about it as of late. It's gone through a lot of negative PR as of, I guess, over the last 2 weeks. But I'm going to go over some of the current data points, what's been coming out from the company itself, and where I see things going from here. Before I get into any of that, make sure you hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Always greatly appreciate that. And with that, let's get right to it. So currently it is having a fairly good day. So up 8.16%, 19.87 million shares have been traded, 21.04 is the average. Market cap has been halved multiple times over the last, like I said, 2 weeks, currently 557.38 million. As of late, the last news that did come out was this. So Fisker chairman and CEO 𝗪𝗓𝗧𝗛 makes a statement. So in reality, I kind of like this statement. Actually, I did kind of alter this here. So you can kind of see a lot of the things just saying that it's blown out of proportion on how deep of a discount Fisker is currently sitting at, and that there's a lot of long-term opportunities for them to accomplish and many things like that. So I do really like this, and I like the genuineness of this. Of course, you kind of have to take that with a grain of salt because they have gone through quite a lot of crap. Their earnings recently was very bad, and you can kind of tell that based on some analyst ratings. So some of the latest ones that did come out down the pipeline was earlier part of this week. So you do see Goldman Sachs mark that does have a 61% success rating, gave a $1 price target. Chris McNally with Evercore, 41% success rating and a $2 price target, and a $3 Jamie Perez with RF Lafferty. That has a 23% success rating, which is very, very bad. But I think a lot of analysts that kind of touch on the EV sector have all been wrong, like almost 90% of the time, in fact. But surprisingly enough, it looks like Citi came through and did give a buy rating and a $4 price target. So that's kind of what is kicking off Fisker today, because other than that though, the only thing that really came out was more data points, which was very positive for the broader market, but negative for a lot of companies that are kind of heavily reliant on debt, such as Fisker, because as you can kind of see based on their last earnings, they had around 529.66 million in cash equivalent short-term investments, 1.18 billion in debt. So I think a lot of Fisker and many other EV stock investors were really hoping that the data coming out today, which was the non-farm payroll, was going to be absolutely horrible, because in turn a lot of people would assume that the Feds would be cutting rates sooner rather than later from what they, I guess, previously quoted near the tail end of Q4. So again, that's kind of what is influencing Fisker behind the scenes. I'll give you a quick overview of some of the data points, including what shorts are doing. So right now shorts are increasing about 4.22 million shares. So how I analyze this information, by them increasing a pretty significant amount and it being a green day, they feel like it's not justified. So once again, this is just used for a benchmark. Not here to say Fisker is a short squeeze play or whatever else, but 41.29% of the free float is being shorted. 88.45 million shares overall are being shorted. Cost to borrow average is a little bit lower in comparison to yesterday, so 10.77%. And through Interactive Broker, short availability does indicate around 4.6 million shares overall are being shorted. So once again, kind of good thing. Looking at options activity, $375,000 in calls being purchased versus $328,000 in puts. So a little bit more evenly divided, but in comparison to the last several days, very night and day. There's a lot of positivity. So take that with a grain of salt. Looking at some of the call options that is being purchased today. So you see all the strike prices, expiry dates. Based on this, it is anticipated for it to be above $2 by the end of next week. So people are anticipating a nice rebound, of course, but looking at puts, people are anticipating for it to be sub $1.50. So when that all said, let's look at some of the technicals. So right now it is at $1.60, kind of a wide gap. So right now for today, it is trading between this S2 and the pivot. So $1.82 is going to be that next strong resistance that you want to watch for. Vice versa, $1.38 is that next strong support. So it kind of bounced off of that today at that $1.40 low, which in essence is that all-time and 52-week low. Right now, I wouldn't really consider the S1 being any strong support or resistance, because it's still probably going to be flirting with that for the remainder part of the day. So we'll kind of just wait and see where it does land. And then of course that'll kind of roll over into next week. But I feel like there is a lot of good optimism. So essentially a temporary floor was created at that $1.40 mark. Whether it continues down afterwards is all going to rely on to the data points. But looking here, number of retail investors are getting into Fisker, which is a fairly good thing. Stochastic, you do see it at 4. The hints of a nice bullish segment starting to form. So black line above the red, but with it being at 4, it is considered very oversold. So that's also aiding in why it's going up today, just the massive oversold status with Fisker and the broader market definitely running. Just to give you a quick overview of some of the ownership, just to give you thoughts of that. So institutions, about 112.12 million shares being held of the overall float. Strategic entities around 19.21 million, and other, which aka is retail, 86.87. So retail is very much in Fisker and a majority holder. And I think this is where shorts have been really targeting those companies that have a very heavy retail presence. So in my opinion, do I think that Fisker is at a discount? Somewhat. I think it is too early to really commit for a long-term position just yet. I would wait personally for some more data points to come out, because as you can kind of tell, the data points are really dictating whether the market goes up, down, sideways. People are still unsure if a recession is going to be coming around the corner or if they need to still be fearful about inflation. It's still a lot of risk and uncertainty. So in my opinion, I would personally wait on Fisker, but like I said, just because it might not be a good time to buy a long-term position, it might be a good opportunity to essentially flip, if that makes sense. So if it does break this $1.82, then I do agree with a lot of the call options that are being purchased that it might be above $2 by the end of next week. So that's a fairly good return potentially for those investors that might like that, might not, I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on Fisker in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Always greatly appreciate that. As well, if you do like a lot of analyst ratings, looking at ownership and analyst forecasts for upcoming earnings, take a look at Interactive Brokers for all this information to be completely free. So link in the description below and also comments. With all that said, I appreciate all of you watching.